What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel today. This is Dynasty Drip. We are coming at you with buys, sells, and today's topic is going to be some Dynasty stash players for the 2025 offseason, a topic I love to do. Last year we had some killer hits. We talked about Tucker Kraft all offseason. He absolutely blew up. So make sure to pay attention today, as sometimes there are some guys off these lists that end up being contributors for your Dynasty team. If you haven't been here before, I'm Sam. Please hit like, subscribe, and comment below on the video. I would really appreciate it. But let's get today's topic kicked off. Dynasty stashes. The first player is going to be a wide receiver. He plays on the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's going to be Parker Washington, a guy who has bounced off and on my roster for the past couple years, kind of being that slot 28 guy. Picked him up before the season ended on a couple teams just because I kind of thought the Jaguars might be in flux. Turns out, they let some guys go. Evan Ingram, obviously one of the big names being let go. Christian Kirk, another. They signed De'Ami Brown, not really too concerned about that. And I think there's a chance Parker Washington wins himself the slot role, and he could be a wide receiver 3-4 for your Dynasty team this year. I don't expect this guy to be wide receiver 12 or anything. He's not going to be Brian Thomas Jr., but we're looking for any small gain on our Dynasty roster that we can get. And I think Parker Washington has a chance to be one of those players this year. Pulling up his ADP over on Dynasty Data Lab, he's going about round 20, pick 10 right now. Looks like he's kind of bounced in and out 20th and the 19th round over the past month or so. So I think that's pretty good value on Parker Washington. This guy may be on your waiver wire. If you're doing a startup, he's going super late. I don't mind adding him to my bench. Or if you're looking to just get him thrown into a trade, I really don't hate that idea either. In some of my previous videos, I've talked about the best way to get guys thrown in kind of at this level. And what I like to do is just move back a couple slots in the third, fourth round. Maybe I can pick up a Parker Washington to my roster. Next one's going to be a tight end, and that's going to be Cade Stover, tight end in Houston. Stover had, some catches. He played a bit last year kind of as a backup tight end, sitting behind Dalton Schultz. Dalton Schultz is a fine player. I think that's one of the things that at least excites me enough about Cade Stover being behind him is that, it's not that Dalton Schultz has been lighting the world on fire. I don't think Cade Stover is necessarily going to overtake him this year. But I think there's a chance that next year, which would be 2026, Cade Stover may be the starting tight end for the Texans. Now, it's a bet. It's not a guarantee. But Cade Stover going super late, not a very valued asset right now. One reason is Schultz's contract was cheap last year, but it's going to be $11 million this year as a base salary, $11 million next year as a base salary. Now, they can't really cut him this year without losing too much dead money, but next year, they're really only losing a couple $1 million dead money to potentially cut Dalton Schultz, which would be an $11 million cap hit. So I think there's a chance that he might get cut next year, released, something like that. And if so, Cade Stover, cheap option. All you got to do is hold him on your bench or your taxi squad this year. Over on Dynasty Data Lab, really similar to Parker Washington, even going a little later. He's going in the 21st round, almost the 22nd round. Really just been going super late in drafts. So same thing with Cade Stover. I think he's a really cheap piece you could add to your Dynasty team, just stash him deeper on your bench that maybe could have some returns for you in the future, right? Now, a lot of these players are not guys that are going to pop right away. You stash them on the bottom of your bench and maybe you gain some value from them in the next year or so. Third one is going to be another tight end. Just signed a 3-year, $30-something million deal. Juwan Johnson, going to be the starting tight end for the New Orleans Saints. Now, I spoke about targeting Alvin Kamara. I spoke about targeting Rashid Shaheed. I think I like attacking this Saints offense just for the prices they're going at. Kellen Moore is going to improve that offense. Derek Carr's coming back. They've added some pieces there, so they're not just throwing in the towel this year. And yes, Juwan Johnson may not be an absolute league winner for your team, but at the value you're getting him right now, you may get a potential starting tight end, if not a good guy to kind of stash in your bench, bye-week fill-in. Maybe he pops at some point this year and you can move him in a trade to get a guy you actually want to target. But when it comes down to it, looking at his Dynasty ADP, 20th round, so, anything after kind of 16, 17, 18, these are very, very cheap assets. And I am totally willing to just put them on the base of my roster and see what happens with them this year. You are not paying for these guys. You are acquiring these guys for 4th round picks. You're picking them up off the waiver wire. You're getting them tossed into trades. So there's really no risk, but potential reward. So I really like Juwan Johnson for that this year. 4th guy is going to be a running back, and that's going to be Will Shipley, a guy who was kind of getting drafted in the 3rd, 4th round of Dynasty drafts last year. Kind of just got buried on the depth chart. Obviously, Saquon Barkley's not going anywhere. Kenny Gainwell did sign a contract on a different team, so that's kind of why I like Will Shipley this year. I think he showed out fairly well when he did get some carries last year. So I think he's kind of the pseudo handcuff for Saquon Barkley, and you're getting him pretty cheap. So if you're a Barkley owner, I'm definitely attacking Will Shipley just to get him on my bench. But if you're looking for a stash play, handcuffs on good offenses with great offensive lines have a high outcome where if he does play some games, you probably can start Will Shipley, or you can ship him off to the Barkley owner, or you can package him in a deal to maybe move up, get a second, maybe you trade Will Shipley in a 4th to get a 2nd round pick because someone needs a couple weeks of his starting running back. So I really like Will Shipley for that. Looking at his ADP, going at 23 right now. 20th round, pick 3. Really been bouncing around that all off season. So once again, these guys are going super, super late. I love targeting them, putting them on the back end of my bench. Last guy we're going to talk about is going the latest of this entire group. That's going to be Javon Baker, wide receiver on the New England Patriots. Now, most likely Javon Baker will be absolutely nothing. He was drafted last year in a lot of 3rd rounds in Dynasty drafts. Basically didn't see the field. But it's a new coaching staff in New England. And I think for me, I've read a couple positive things about Javon Baker from the Patriots staff. And I'm willing to put him on the bottom of my roster just to see if he impresses the new staff in a different way than he was last year. The Patriots have no stud offensive weapons besides Drake May. They're probably going to be looking at someone in the draft. They haven't really targeted anyone in free agency yet. We will see if that changes. But it's a wide open wide receiver room, so why not take a chance and put Javon Baker, stash him on the end of your bench, see if he turns into a potential starter for your Dynasty team. There is no risk in this move. He's currently on Dynasty Data Lab going in the 23rd round, the first pick of the 23rd round. So don't tell me this guy isn't available to get onto your team for very, very cheap. You could maybe even get some fab, throw that at the guy that has Javon Baker, put him on, roster spot 27, 28, etc. But thank you guys for tuning into this channel. I love doing stash videos, all upside, no floor, but sometimes those are the best Dynasty moves to make. If you gained any knowledge from today's video, please let me know in the comments, like, subscribe, and please keep coming back to the channel for more Dynasty content. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.